One of the sectors of the economy worst hit by the COVID meltdown is civil aviation. With the ban on all flights now approaching 2 months, the ban on international and domestic flights, there's a huge question mark on how India's cash-strapped carriers will be able to restart, if at all. It seems clear that without a massive government bailout plan, some of our leading airlines may collapse. Already layoffs have hit the sector. The demand for flights will be low even once flights resume. There'll be social distancing norms as well at that stage. Well, joining us now, one of the stalwarts of aviation in India, the chairman and managing director of SpiceJet, Mr. Ajay Singh. Thank you, Mr. Singh, very much for joining us. These are difficult times for the industry at this stage. Now, the Center for Asia Pacific Aviation has come out with various reports, and one of the points that they are suggesting is that in the event of a 3-month shutdown, the two listed carriers alone, Indigo and SpiceJet, could report combined losses of 1.25 to 1.5 billion across the fourth quarter financial year 2020 and the first quarter of 2021. Is that what we are looking at?
Well, certainly, this is the most terrible time that global aviation has ever seen. It's tough to predict what the numbers are going to be, but certainly a terrible, terrible time. And we have to make the best that we can.
So do you believe that at the end of it all, and this is assuming that in the next couple of months things do get back to normal flying or relatively normal flying, some of our carriers may not survive?
I certainly hope that all the Indian carriers are going to survive. There's, of course, no guarantee of that, but I certainly hope that carriers will survive. I don't think the government is keen to see the country lose another airline, much as we lost Kingfisher several years ago, we lost Air Deccan, and we lost Jet Airways recently. So that always is extremely painful, and I do hope that we can all work together to find ways to survive this crisis.
Even once aviation restarts in India, there'll be social distancing norms, which means that you won't be able to fill your planes up to capacity. What impact will that have on fares?
Vishnu, firstly, I believe that what is being proposed in terms of leaving the middle seat vacant, or even more extreme variations of that, which is to have people sit only on the window seats. This is mostly all, eyewash, because if you look at the distance between the window seat and the aisle seat, that distance is only 17 inches. Mm-hmm. If you look at the distance between the two aisle seats, that distance is even less. So you are not really fulfilling any social distancing norms by leaving these seats vacant. I think if you need to do real social distancing on aircraft, you'll actually have to have people sitting on either sides on the two window seats. And in addition to that, leave at least 2 rows, without passengers. That's when you actually achieve real 6 feet social distancing on aircraft. So I don't think this is mostly psychological, that you say that, okay, let's leave a seat and make fares more expensive. Remember also, Vishnu, that it's not just about the center seat. Imagine what will happen if we are talking about these small planes that go into regional destinations. And these are 2x2 aircraft. So if you need to leave a seat, that means you're limiting capacity to 50% of the aircraft, which will mean that you have to at least double your fares. That will make it impossible to fly to small cities around the country. Think also of Air India and these long-haul flights.
So if you do look at fares, how much would fares be? On, say, a Bombay to Delhi or return flight, how much would fares likely increase? Because it's my understanding that even without social distancing, given the fact that the demand is likely to be lower, to be remotely viable here onwards, the prices of tickets will have to go up. What are your estimations on, say, Bombay, Delhi?
Well, we'll see. We don't really know, Vishnu. At this time, we don't know what the demand is going to be. It's anybody's guess. Of course, there will be a bump initially as we start. And of course, there are a lot of people who want to go, return back home, etc. After that, demand is expected to drop. But we'll see. Remember also that oil prices have come down pretty significantly over this period. So costs are lower, and hopefully, that should mean that fares don't need to go up a lot. Remember also that we do expect that some of the passengers who earlier traveled by trains over long distances may not want to do that anymore because of the fact that they are exposed to infection and contact for over far longer periods of time. So we'll see how things pan out. But certainly in terms of aviation, though this is the toughest possible time, there is going to be, India still remains an interesting market, one of the few countries that has a large home market.
Okay. I'm going to come up with a couple of suggestions, and I don't know if you brought up some of these with the government or how much would these help the aviation sector. Firstly, support for salaries. Secondly, an exemption of airport charges. Would this possibly save airlines? An exemption of airport charges and support for salaries up to a certain level, obviously.
Well, certainly. I think both of your suggestions are good ones, and they will help. As you know, most countries around the world have tried to help airlines, recognizing that aviation is a strategic business. In terms of salaries, of course, if we could pay, if the government could help pay those who get, let's say, less than 25,000 rupees, at least a part of that salary, that would be extremely helpful. Of course, if airport charges can be paid for a period of time, that would be extremely helpful as well. As far as SpiceJet is concerned, we've tried very hard, Vishnu, to pay salaries over the months of March and April. We have paid part salaries to more than 92% of our people, and we have especially tried to pay to those who get very little salary anyway. So we are trying to do our best, and hopefully we can maintain the same. But of course, any help the government can give us at this time, and recognizing that government has other, more urgent priorities of, feeding people, getting migrants back home, etc. We really do hope that the government is able to help airlines in some ways.
A couple of other suggestions. A reduction in excise duty on aviation turbine fuel. Obviously, as you mentioned, the prices now are very low of fuel, but going forward, because it's not going to be an immediate recovery for the sector, a reduction in the excise duty on ATF, bringing ATF under the GST regime, and suspending infrastructure charges at Indian airports. As far as suspending infrastructure charges at Indian airports, is this not the easiest thing for the government to do, which brings about immediate relief?
Nothing in easy is really easy to do, but of course, some things still need to be done, I would think. In terms of aviation turbine fuel, as you know, Indian aviation fuel is taxed to the highest possible level. I mean, there's no country in the world of equivalent size or equivalent aviation market that taxes fuel like this. On average, our fuel taxes are between 35 and 40% if you count both the excise duty and the sales tax. Any reduction, by the way, excise duty used to be 8%, then was taken up to 14% and then reduced to 11%. Of course, eliminating that excise duty at this time would be helpful. It's not a very large ticket item for the central government. In terms of the sales tax, again, there are some states which have very high sales tax, and I know that there's a challenge on their revenues. But if at this time we can get the structural change of having aviation turbine fuel included in the GST, that's a long-awaited structural reform. It will not really, the state and center put together will not collectively lose money, but will help clean up the system tremendously. So I think both those are great suggestions and should be done really. In terms of the infra charge, again, this is something which is between the airport, the oil companies, and the airlines, and certainly we should look at it because these infra charges are really old charges. They are also excessive in very many ways. For example, a tank. The infra charges are really for storing fuel at an airport. And when you store fuel at an airport, the tank in which you store the fuel, the total cost of that tank is, not very much. It may be 30, 40 crores.
Right.
But what is being charged to airlines at certain airports is in excess of 10 times that amount every year. So those are anomalies, I think, which at this time the government needs to look at.
Right.
India always, we always say that we reform in a crisis, and hopefully this crisis is incentive to correct all this.
Again, something which CAPA has come out with, the Center for Asia Pacific Aviation, they say a demand for a refund of $500 million across all airlines could be the next big test for Indian aviation. This includes domestic and international flights. Is this going to be a potential next hurdle, particularly if this is backed, or this demand is backed by a court judgment?
Well, again, we have to see. The government so far has issued orders for us to refund those tickets which were booked during lockdown for travel during lockdown. That has been done by the airlines. I think no country around the world is forcing its airlines to refund large numbers of tickets. I think even jurisdictions like the European Union, which are extremely concerned about citizen rights and passenger rights, they have recently amended their rules to say that the airlines will not be forced to refund tickets. And remember, these are jurisdictions where the countries are strongly supporting their airlines, giving them billions of dollars of bailout. And yet they feel that it is important not to force airlines to refund all tickets. Hopefully in India, where by the way, of course, no particular support has been provided so far. I doubt that the government will also try and force airlines to refund more than what has so far been advised by them.
SpiceJet has done some fantastic work in the last couple of weeks as far as transporting essential goods to different parts of the country. So tell us, A, about that, and B, would you like to be part of the process where you bring back Indians from other countries?
Well, I think, it's been a great privilege for SpiceJet. We have flown more than 800 relief flights already. We've carried more than 6,000 tons of medical equipment and medicines. In addition to that, we are also helping farmers by taking their fruits and vegetables and carrying it to different parts of the world. So it's been a tremendous experience for SpiceJet, and we are grateful we had the opportunity to do this. As far as getting passengers, from different countries, of course, we would love to do it. Absolutely, no question about it. We would love to be a part of that process. It would be our duty to do it. I think over and above the people that we are getting from overseas, we would also like to play a role if the government deems fit to transport migrants from one state to the other. Today, migrants, of course, are being transported by surface transport, by buses and by trains. And sometimes, it's taking extremely long to do this. And it seems to us to be extremely inefficient as well, because if it takes people 3 or 4 days to reach destinations, they are in a bus for that long. They keep stopping for meals, for toilet breaks and other such things. It's extremely uncomfortable and expensive to do this. We believe, and respectfully, we would like to suggest that government considers aviation and all these planes which are sitting on the ground for this, because we believe that in a controlled environment like an airplane, you can create much better standards of hygiene and distancing and so on.
One last question. At a time when there are so many in the country suffering, in your company and every single aviation company around the world, as a leader, Mr. Singh, and somebody who's played a huge role in reviving SpiceJet, what do you tell people? How do you encourage them to remain motivated, to remain confident about the future when, let's face it, the future is so bleak?
Well,
is this your biggest challenge?
So SpiceJet is a very resilient company, Vishnu. We've gone through so many ups and downs. We've we've been nearly dead or even dead on a few occasions. We've always believed that we can come back even stronger. Just as in 2014, when the company had shut down and we started to revive it again, we say to people that, look, it's just in our genes, it's in our DNA, that we are strong and resilient, and that we show to the world that we can be even better at the end of a crisis. And I think I'm just fortunate that I have an extremely strong, motivated, and very, very passionate team, which believes that will happen, and which has seen that happen several times in the past.
All right, Mr. Ajay Singh, thank you very much for speaking to us. It seems clear to me that without some form of active government assistance, airlines are going to be in deep trouble in India. But our airlines have been growing, our aviation travel has been growing at a phenomenal rate in the past. It just seems to be a matter of time before it actually comes about. The question is when, because time is of essence. Thank you, sir, very much for speaking to us.